You didn't notice when you started to fade. It wasn't sudden. It was a slow unraveling, like a thread slipping quietly from the fabric. Unnoticed at first, too small to alarm you. It came disguised. At first, it looked like care, attention, love. The kind you thought you deserved after so long feeling invisible. But little by little, the affection began to feel heavier, tighter. A hand that once held you now seemed to grip you, not with tenderness, but with control. Without realizing it, you began to surrender small territories inside yourself. A silent negotiation. An inch here, a boundary there. Your laughter was first to go. Once loud, now measured, careful, filtered. Then your desires, trimmed and tucked away, made to fit someone else's comfort. Your anger, softened into silence. Your dreams, delayed indefinitely. You didn't see it happening because you were trying to love. You thought compromise was loyalty. You mistook suppression for peace. Suddenly, you couldn't tell where you ended and they began. You were a shadow within yourself, still moving, still breathing, but dimmed. You learned to tiptoe in your own skin, not to upset, not to disturb. Shrinking, folding, bending, a silent ballet of survival. The worst kind of loneliness isn't being alone. It's being surrounded, but unseen. It's speaking, and hearing your words fall into a void. It's lying next to someone, but feeling like a ghost. You weren't weak. You weren't naive. You were just trying to survive a love that, somewhere along the way, stopped being love. And now, standing here, in the eerie quiet that follows the storm, the only voice left is your own, shaky, unfamiliar. And it asks a question you were never taught to answer. Who am I when no one is trying to make me small? This, right here, is the journey. Not back to who you were, not a return to the past, but a soft, trembling step toward who you are yet to become. Not a restoration, a rebirth. There are wounds no one can see. They don't bruise the skin or bleed in a way that draws sympathy. They are quieter than that, more patient, more cruel. They exist in the spaces between your breaths, in the silent weight you carry every time you open your eyes to a new day already exhausted. It's the ache that no amount of sleep can fix. The invisible limp you walk with, even when you stand tall. These wounds aren't born from one moment, one betrayal. They accumulate, slowly, insidiously, in every glance that made you second-guess yourself, in every laugh that belittled your dreams, in every word that said, "You are too much, you are not enough. You are wrong for being you," and you believed them. Not all at once, but piece by piece. Your identity became a battlefield you didn't even know you were standing on. Every criticism etched into you like a carving in stone. Until you started to believe the shape they chiseled was who you truly were. You became afraid of your own voice, afraid of your own reflection, afraid that if you showed yourself fully, the world would turn away, just like they did. So you learned to be smaller, quieter, safer. You perfected the art of disappearing while still being present. You wake up, each morning with the same thought gnawing at you. What if I'm too difficult to love? And that fear becomes a filter, dulling the colors of your life before you even step out of bed. Your scars don't scream. They whisper. They show up in the way your voice trembles when you dare to disagree, in the apology that slips out when you simply state a preference, in the way you rehearse conversations in your head, afraid that honesty will cost you love. But here's what no one told you. What hurts today is the soil where tomorrow's strength is planted. Each invisible scar is a seed, dormant, but alive. And one day, without warning, they will bloom. Not as reminders of your suffering, but as quiet, unshakable roots. Roots that will anchor you when the winds return. Roots that will remind you, you are not too much. You are not too little. You are exactly enough. After everything collapses, what remains isn't devastation. It's silence. A vast, unfamiliar silence that presses against your skin, making every breath feel louder, heavier. An emptiness that hums in the spaces where chaos once lived. You'd think freedom would feel like relief, like air after suffocation. But it doesn't. Not at first. Freedom, in its earliest form, is terrifying. Because when the noise is gone, the constant apologies, the tiptoeing, the second-guessing, you are left alone with yourself. And that solitude feels louder than all the shouting you've survived. You try to fill it with distractions, with noise, with memories, even the painful ones, because they are familiar, predictable, safer than the unknown. There's a strange comfort in pain you recognize, in the patterns you learn to dance around. Even if it cost you your joy, it gave you a map, and now, without it, you are lost. You fumble in the dark, trying to find shape in the formless. You reach for anything. Old habits, old fears, old versions of yourself, just to feel something solid under your feet. But the truth is, there is no map here, no guideposts, no guarantees, just you, just silence. And it is in that silence, uncomfortable and vast, that something fragile begins to stir. A voice, your voice, small, tentative, almost inaudible. It doesn't command. It doesn't insist. It whispers. Stay. Stay here, in the ache of uncertainty. Stay, even when everything inside you screams to run back to the familiar, to the brokenness you once called home. Stay, and listen. Not for answers, but for presence. It is here, in this raw, aching quiet, that you will begin to rebuild. Not by filling the silence, but by allowing it to teach you how to exist within it. How to breathe. How to belong to yourself. This silence is not your enemy. It is the soil where you will root the next version of your life. Rebuilding yourself isn't a grand gesture. It's not the sweeping declaration of a new beginning. It's quieter, more intimate, like sifting through the ashes of a house that once stood proud, picking up fragments still warm from the fire. You don't start from scratch. You start from the ruins, from the pieces that survived. Charred, yes, but intact. It's not about erasing what was. It's about honoring it, looking at the broken beams and splintered walls and saying, this was my shelter once. It kept me safe until it couldn't anymore. There's no blueprint for this kind of rebuilding, no timeline, no expectations, only the slow, deliberate gathering of what still feels true. It happens in moments so small, the world doesn't even notice. The first night you fall asleep without rehearsing apologies. The morning you sit with your coffee a little longer, letting the warmth seep into your fingers, savoring it without guilt. The shaky but firm "no" you utter, even as your heart pounds against your ribs. These aren't victories anyone will clap for. There are no medals for learning to trust yourself again. But make no mistake, these small acts are revolutions. Quiet ones, sacred ones. You begin to reclaim yourself, inch by inch. Not with grand gestures, but with small, stubborn choices. You relearn how to trust your instincts, your voice, your right to take up space. You start to build a life that fits you, Not the you others wanted, but the you that waited patiently under all that wreckage. Healing isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. You revisit the ruins again and again, sometimes finding strength, sometimes grief. And that's okay. Grief is not a step backward. It's a testament to what mattered, to what shaped you. Rebuilding isn't about becoming shiny and new. It's about being whole, even with the cracks. Especially with the cracks. It's realizing that the scars you carry aren't signs of failure. They are proof that you survived what tried to break you. One day, without fanfare, you'll realize you've built something solid, a home inside yourself. Not made of walls to keep the world out, but made of doors wide enough for you to walk through freely, without shrinking, without hiding. And that home will be built from the patience you gave yourself, from the respect you finally demanded, from the love you learned to nurture, not from others, but from within. There comes a moment, so subtle, so gentle, that you almost miss it. A shift so quiet it feels like the exhale you didn't know you were holding. A soft loosening of the grip fear had on your heart. At first, it's imperceptible. A thought you don't immediately dismiss. A choice you make without seeking permission. A boundary you hold, not with anger, but with calm, steady certainty. It doesn't feel like triumph. It feels like release. Like finally setting down a burden you carried so long, it had fused to your bones. You begin to notice it in the smallest of ways. You speak, and your voice doesn't tremble. You rest and don't apologize. You leave when your heart says it's time, even if no one else understands. This strength you once searched for, in approval, in validation, in promises made and broken. You find it now, quietly, within yourself. It was never absent, only buried, dormant beneath the layers of guilt, fear, and shame that others handed you, expecting you to carry them like heirlooms. Strength, it turns out, isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. True strength is the softness that remains when the war is over. It's the willingness to be seen. Not perfect, not invulnerable, but whole. You stop explaining yourself. Stop justifying the cracks in your armor. You realize you don't owe your survival story to anyone. You don't need permission to exist, exactly as you are. Your worth isn't tied to the wounds you endured or the forgiveness you extended. It isn't found in how well you hide your scars or how little space you take up. Your worth is inherent, untouched by past betrayals, unshaken by future doubts. And you understand now. Strength is not in never being broken. It's in choosing, again and again, to meet yourself with tenderness, to walk forward even when the path is unclear, to honor your story without being defined by it. This return to yourself is not a spectacle. It doesn't need witnesses. It is a private ceremony, a sacred reunion between who you were, who you are, and who you are still. Becoming, no applause, no fanfare, just you, quietly, reclaiming what was always yours. Ruins frighten those who only see debris. They see what's been lost. Walls crumbled, structures fallen, dreams collapsed under the weight of what could not be sustained. To them, ruins are failure, finality, proof that the story ended badly. But to those who have been broken and have survived, ruins are something else entirely. They are sacred ground, proof that even destruction cannot erase existence. You don't need to wipe away what you lived through to begin again. You don't need to plaster over the cracks or hide the scars. You are not here to erase the past. You are here to build with it, through it, because of it. Your scars are not blemishes. They are cartographies, silent maps etched into your skin, guiding you back to yourself. Each fracture, each wound, each healed break is a testament. You endured, you adapted, you lived. And now when you build, you do it differently. You don't build walls that imprison you. You build spaces that breathe, windows that let the light pour in, doors that remain open, not out of vulnerability, but out of strength. You learn that safety isn't found in barricades or defenses. It's found in presence. In being rooted so deeply within yourself that no external storm can uproot you again. Your new home, the one you are patiently, quietly constructing, isn't perfect. It doesn't need to be. It is spacious, imperfect, honest. It carries the scent of freedom and the echo of laughter, not tinged with fear. And when doubt returns, because it will, when the loneliness aches and the familiar pull of old patterns tempts you back into smaller versions of yourself, you'll have something solid to hold on to. A memory, a truth, a whisper. Ruins are not the end. They are beginnings, sacred soil where the truest parts of you take root and bloom. Close your eyes, breathe in the silence. Feel the ground beneath you, steady, unshakable. Take the first step into the life that has always been waiting for you. A life where you are the architect, the foundation, the home. If this touched something inside you, subscribe, and let's continue this silent journey back to yourself.